What's up, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ride the Rebellion podcast. Little different format today because Dale and I are on the road. We had to get an episode done, so we're going to keep it, pretty straightforward and simple. But yeah, we don't miss episodes, and we haven't broken the streak yet, and we don't plan to. Now, with me as always is the man, the myth, the legend, the king of the South Alabama Turndown, Dale Boyd of Dale Boyd Grip Management.
What's up, party peoples?
So I'm coming off vacation. Dale's coming off of staycation.
Defecation.
Yeah. We're currently in Decatur, Alabama. We had planned on bringing our bikes. We 86'd that plan because of weather. I was just in Chattanooga. I'll talk a little bit about that. Just plugging Chattanooga, rode a new trail, or two new trails actually. All of them Waldens. What I really love to do is when I see brand new trails, I like to let it rain a lot. And while it's still raining, I just go out and just thrash them.
I think you should.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I did in Chattanooga.
People pay for them for you to trash them.
That's 100% what they want. So we're just going to talk briefly. As always, Mountain Bike Show. We talk about whatever we want to talk about. So today we're talking about whatever we want to talk about. Let's talk about our sponsors for a second. And you need to talk about Jag Grundy stuff.
Yeah.
I'll let you carry that away in a second. First off, shout out to Summit Bike Academy. As always, shredwithsummit.com. Head over there. We've talked about it enough. If you haven't gone over there to check them out, you're missing out. We also would like to mention that Run and Try, again, one of our premier sponsors, not just for hydration, but for shoes. So what do you do when you can't ride? Sometimes you run. And I know, I can hear you rolling your eyes right now at that statement. Not you, others. But the truth is, if you care at all about your riding, you might want to consider your fitness. So maybe get some new shoes and give it a run. Dale has talked about getting a new tattoo in every town he goes to. And the whole reason he's going to do that is for approval from
Man of War Tattoo, because he is my premier tattoo artist. And I would like him to approve everything that I get put on my body.
Yeah. Last but not least, we have two left. Just again, we're very grateful for the sponsorship provided to us. But again, we've actually ridden there. So if you've not been up to Lincoln Parish Park yet, highly suggest going to ride there. Super fun. Whether you're on your way to Bentonville or you're on your way home or you just need somewhere new to ride, the town is really cool. You can hit other trails along the way. You'll spend about a day there and have a great time. There's a great brewery there. We had a very good set of beers. We had some good pizza. They had a dill pickle pizza that was good. So the town of Ruston is fantastic. If you've not been there, I suggest it. If you want to learn more about it, please head over to experienceruston.com/thehub, and you can see the world's first waterfall mountain bike hub. I think that's what they're calling it. Fair enough. They paid us to say that, but we actually can say it with confidence because we were there.
It's a good idea.
Okay.
So before you go there, though, before you go anywhere, you should probably build, tune, and ride your bike. And to do that, you got to stop by and see Jody at Build, Tune, Ride. While you're there, check out the stockyard.
For sure.
And get your intense needs filled. And Jody is a shock whiz, so he can whip up your shock, service Fox shocks, service rock shocks, shock shocks.
Shock shocks. Rock
after
shocks.
shocks, before shocks, during shocks.
Shock tops. Shock tops? Oh, I can't drink shock top.
No, I can't either. I would have to be drunk.
Yes. That's like a 5-beer drink. 5 drinks of beer before I can even think about a shock top.
Yeah.
Or if, when I was single, some girl that was kind of attractive was like, I have some shock top. And I'd be like, oh, cool, I'm going to drink it with you.
Or see the same chick that's like, I'll take a sex on the beach with Grey Goose vodka.
Sex on...
Because they have no idea how to order it. Okay.
Perfect.
That's bartender for jokes, folks.
Speaking of Build, Tune, Ride, though, another janky shite.
Yeah, some of you might have seen I tried to create the page this week for the Jag Grundy Jubilee. And we've had some questions about it. I put Mountain Bike Fest afterwards because no one knew what it was. And I get it. It's kind of a joke, but it is a joke because it is just a thing. Like, it's a mountain bike event with very little agenda. And that's the point. Like, it's just come ride your bike, hang out at the stockyard, patronize Jody. You got the red on. You're good.
I'm upside down.
Oh.
Maybe it sounds
You're
better
in the
this way.
down. The stockyard and eclectic. No, Quality, Alabama, right next to Eclectic, Alabama.
Yep.
I think it's stockyardmtb.com if you want more information about the Stockyard, if you want to ride it before. But the dates are September 20th and 21st. We have some fun stuff planned. And by that, I mean we have nothing planned.
Right.
It's basically food truck will be there. We're going to just be, you can camp out there. You can ride. You can have fun.
We're trying to get the podcast to be there so we can interview some of you knuckle turds and have a conversation. So it's lots of different stuff.
There have been plans. Eric Hagan and I have been talking about some fun stuff to do, and Jody, we've just been kicking around some ideas, and it's just come hang out and just ride bikes with like-minded people and an awesome place where you're detached from everything. There's no distractions. You're there to ride bikes and hang out with people.
This is more like I would equate it to more like an ultimate hang.
Yeah.
It's a hang fest. Like
there's no IMBA chapters there.
Right.
There's no.
Yeah.
It's just come be who you are.
And if you're smart, you come to that because you would like to come to Jank Fest. And so the easiest way to get into Jank Fest is hang out. I mean, that's how it works, right? Jank Fest is a private event. It's not because we're douchebags, but it's simply because we want to make sure the right group of people comes and hangs out, and that's the kind of thing we like to do. Make sure you're cool, because if you're a douche noodle and you decide to show up and be a jerk face at something as simple as the Jag Grundy or however the hell you say it, then we know you're not going to be fun somewhere else. So think about it that way. This is a public one. You get to go hang. We're inviting you.
This one also, you don't have to be 18 to go to.
Oh, that's right.
You could be a youthful ripper.
We need some of that young blood.
Yeah, Jank Fest is you have to
we
be
need some
an
of that
adult.
adrenochrome. That's for Pat.
Yeah, you have to be an adult to be at Jank Fest. So
yeah, for now.
For Jagundy though, you do not have to be an adult.
Yeah.
Come be children with the rest of us that want to be children still.
Yeah, come hang out. All right, so lots to talk about. I got lots of things. First off, I'm curious to see if the community will want to throw some comments in the old chatski later on, but Dale and I briefly talked about it, but I didn't get a lot of feedback from him. What is your take on LeBron James now being part of the mountain bike community as he is endorsed and sponsored by Canyon?
I've got mixed comments. People like to reach out to me about it.
Because you're the tallest person we know.
I thought it was basketball.
No, just because
I was acting like it was basketball.
It was just... it's not even your sports management degree. It's just you're taller than all of us.
Well, so I look at it different because Reggie Miller, former basketball Hall of Famer, is super into mountain bike racing. And he's been racing for a few years. Rides a Santa Cruz. I think they might have made him a custom one because he's like 6'8", 6'9". He's posted this year he raced his first enduro race because he's been doing ultras and stuff. So LeBron just finally caught up with the cool guys.
That's wild.
I think it's awesome. I mean, shout out to Canyon for reaching out to some breaking,
Well, look, the other side of it is
it's a different barrier.
LeBron is notoriously generous. And so the fact is that maybe that leads to, and maybe
he's been doing a thing in Akron called Akron Bikes or something.
Okay, so he has been.
Bikes.
Yeah.
No, he's been buying bikes for kids in Akron for years.
Yeah.
And he started a school in Akron.
Yeah.
So I'm from Ohio, obviously. LeBron is the same age as my brother. His team, they almost played each other. A whole other story. But I followed LeBron's career very closely. Like, I'm a basketball player was a thing. So when I was in high school, I got to see LeBron play in high school and things like that. So I wanted to hate LeBron so bad. Make sure it's still recording.
I was just making. Yeah,
I wanted to hate LeBron so bad, and I've tried to my whole life. Been like, God, he's trash. He's not that good. He's legit, and he's been a legit human. I know that there's been some things that he's done politically and whatever. Who cares? He has somehow stayed in the spotlight. Well, he started this at 15 years old, guys, and he doesn't have a father figure. Like, he had no guidance.
Right.
And the people around him just enabled him. And he somehow rose through all that and did good things for people. And he's continued to do it. It's pretty cool. I know he's done some shady things, but not illegal shady things.
Right.
There's nothing that's been cancel cultured him.
But the other side of it though is it brings more attention to mountain biking on a much higher level. Sure. It opens up a new opportunities. So maybe if someone never felt represented in that space, I don't understand that because I'm a white dude, but if you didn't feel represented, maybe it's hey, wait a second. Well, LeBron's riding. He's an icon in my generation. So not even just from an age standpoint, but maybe it is a race standpoint or identification standpoint.
Right.
I think that stuff's big. And I'm not one of the people that wants mountain biking to be the biggest thing in the world, but I do know that the more people that ride, the more products that come out, the more views that we get on this podcast, and the more money that Dalen. I'm just kidding. We don't make any money, but I do think it's interesting because it opens up new opportunities, and you never know. Like, think about this: LeBron touching that. I'm not saying it's the same as the Walton family touching it, but look what happened when someone with money got into mountain biking. You now have Bentonville.
Right.
Like, Bentonville doesn't exist unless the Waltons get into mountain biking and suddenly just dump tons of money and figure out it's a land trust and the way to hide money. Breaking news, folks. I'm very conspiratorial today.
No kidding.
I think it's from the assassination
so.
attempts.
Somehow LeBron owns the microchip company that's making
That's
e-bikes
exactly,
and canyons.
That's it. That's totally it. But I do think it's relevant and awesome. I think it's very cool that it's happening, and it is disruptive inside of the mountain bike industry, and certainly at a time when the industry is not necessarily performing the way that I think they all thought it was going to. If you go back and listen to previous episodes and what we'd learned from the Escape Collective, but it's cool that he's endorsing that side of it.
Growing up, I was a huge X Games fan, and I played traditional sports, which usually didn't cross over that often. And I always had this theory that the greatest X Games athletes at each sport never played those sports.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the greatest X Games freestyle BMXer never rode a BMX bike.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because of opportunity or whatever.
Right.
A lot of the X Games sports, the barrier is high.
Yeah.
The traditional sports, the barrier is not that high.
Right.
Yes, football is expensive. They're expensive when you advance, but to get into them, it's not that
I'm
hard.
looking for your red light.
They're not that hard. But so I think that the barrier to a lot of the other sports, because the equipment's so expensive. So
100%.
being able to offer that to people that otherwise weren't and being offered I think it's awesome. And you could see that all it does is it's going to raise like you said, it's going to raise the equipment game, but it's also going to raise the game of the sport.
Yep.
You get athletes in there that are willing to push to a certain level that it's like, damn, we never thought of that.
Yeah.
I think that happens with trail building too.
100% down the line. And it's the same concept of riding other places. It's that someone has we have premier trail builders we're interested in. I want to go ride trails. I may not know the guys' names that built trails in the Pacific Northwest, but I would like to go ride them so I understand how they built on that terrain. Mm-hmm. Same thing as I was in Chattanooga and I'm riding Chattanooga trails, and they're totally different. Though I told you that elevation is not far off. For us, It's about 120 feet per mile, and ours is
100-ish.
100-ish per mile in spots. Now there's some stuff in Chattanooga, like Raccoon Mountain's pretty nasty, but where I was riding, which was called White Oak, and the fact that exists, and riding some of that, and then looking at how the trail was put together and seeing it and realizing that there's a Nutty Buddy is a big trail up there that's a jump line, and you go see it and you're like, dude, it's a big jump line in the middle of the woods. So it is it kind of reminds me of Tails in that way, but it felt much more confined. So it's like a Dale Boyd special. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's high consequence, not the jumps, but falling off the side. But that experience inspires my brain to be like, oh man, I know what I want to do for a doubles now. And they had all kinds of cork knuckles or whatever the flip flop it is, pork knuckles, pig knuckles.
Shout out Rob.
Shout out Rob. But they did have a lot of different stuff, and it made it where
pig knuckles.
Yep, it was cork knuckle.
It's cork knuckle.
Yeah. So I could scrub the shit out of it, and I scrubbed them all and had a great time. Whereas you guys would send it anyway. My point in bringing that up, just like LeBron to yours, is the more diversity we get, and I don't mean race, guys, I mean human beings, but the more diversity we get, whether it's endorsed riders or varieties of bikes, including e-bikes, the more things are going to shift, and I think it does lead to a much better stuff. But the bigger takeaway for us is on the trail side. The more you ride, the more variety of trails you ride, the better your trail building gets. And that is no doubt.
Well, I don't think that the wheel doesn't have to be reinvented.
Nope.
And I think that a lot of places where we live, especially Mobile as a whole, they don't like to just take what's already being done somewhere similar and redo it.
Right.
That's all needs to be done.
Yep.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel and make it yours. Just make it something cool.
The terrain will speak for itself, which is the other side of that.
Yeah.
Which is great. Speaking of that, and not necessarily endorsements, I do think it's interesting, and I have not had a lot of stuff come through my feed, but the Olympics are happening, to date this podcast by a moment. We had mountain biking in the Olympics, and the course was kind of gnarly. I get it, it's XC, but that's mountain biking in the Olympics, which is less obscure to me than table tennis or handball. these random sports that I don't even know exist. At least mountain biking is a global. I mean, handball that I know is you're hitting it against the wall.
That's like
Okay.
racquetball with no racket.
Yeah, but this was not that. This was
I
like
know. No, it's basketball and soccer mixed,
yeah, and the scores are really high.
and they're big dudes.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess my thing
Yeah,
is, did you
totally.
watch any of the mountain biking stuff?
I watched the highlights.
Yeah.
I'm still in the tour hangover.
Yeah,
And Pidcock, actually, spoiler alert, tour racer,
yeah.
comes over to mountain bike, dominates it.
It sucks when you're that good.
I did watch the road time trial.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was, it was in the rain.
I did see. I saw the women's, and the USA rider, fell 3 times, and she was just, I mean, road rashed all the way up her
It
leg.
was a rough course. I mean, in the rain.
Yeah,
But
she wouldn't come off the lay down bars.
yeah. Remco won
Yeah.
the men's, and he got third in the tour 3 weeks before that. So,
That's a monster.
but yeah, and he said like he didn't wake up for a couple days after the tour, and then a couple weeks later he just smokes
He's in the
everybody.
freaking Olympics.
It's
I don't
like
know.
a different.
It's an interesting time to look at cycling in a good way, especially having come through cycling towns. We're even in Decatur, where it feels more cycling friendly. Huntsville was somewhat cycling friendly, not like Chattanooga, where I rode around town too. So I rode not Walton's. That was a joke. I rode White Oak when it was dry, and I rode. It wasn't dry and it was raining, so I rode up to the top of Lookout Mountain on this gravel path, and it was fun going up. It was miserable going up, but it was fun as hell coming down. And I was zinging. I
another
crashed too. I crashed pretty hard, but I had a good time on it. And but then I rode around town one day, and I just rode, and I stopped, and I sat with this homeless guy, who I was sitting there. He actually came and sat with me, and we just talked. And it was like, not the normal homeless dude. He never asked for money. He just was sitting there talking. We were just literally talking about life. But it was the idea that it was easily accessible for me to ride from our hotel to a crazy coffee shop at the very end of the road, like all the way down by Main Street Meats and all that stuff, and just hang out. And because the town is built for bikes,
Right.
and you start to see that infrastructure, and you're like, man, why can't we have that?
Was he like, bro, LeBron's into mountain bikes now?
No, he was. It would have been amazing if he would have said that. He was a good dude. I paid him $10 for a selfie.
Hey, sports, like athletes transcend like what they're doing. So I've always had this story that I read a book. I can't tell you the name of it. I forget now, but it's about
I thought you were going to say you couldn't tell me because it
the
was secret.
globalization of Nike is basically.
yeah.
And so the guy that wrote the book at one point said he was in the middle of Africa where there was no TVs, nothing. And he was like doing a habitat thing. I don't know what it was. He was over there touring, and he's over there and he walks up, and these kids from this tribe like run up to him, and the first question they asked was like, how's Michael Jordan doing? Like, they don't have TV, they don't have anything. So like Michael Jordan transcended basketball to the point where, look, this is what these kids in Africa, they have no idea.
Right.
They knew who Michael Jordan was. So like that's the impact that LeBron can have on cycling that people don't realize. Like LeBron is 42, 41 years old, 40 years old, and dominating the world right now at the Olympics. Like literally the best basketball player. Still, I don't care what you say about him and what he does and whatever, but that's impressive.
No, it is impressive.
Ridiculous.
Do you think that so I've been to Cuba, I've been to some other countries. In Cuba, bicycles were handed out by the Ruskies. They were given to them as communist tools, right? And that's what everybody got a bicycle. But they were Chinese-made bikes. They were made out of steel. They were heavy as all get out. They
You had to
handed
go
them-
watch Oprah to get them.
Yeah,
Everybody gets a bike.
exactly. Yeah, but it was Russian Oprah.
Oh, God. Rosha.
Russia, yeah. But they had like so biking culture in Cuba. I wondered, there's mountains there, but there's not a lot of mountain biking, and the bikes that are there are old because it's hard to get parked because of the embargo. Blah blah blah. But I asked some people, and they didn't ride a lot of bikes. I talked about this before because they saw it as a symbol of like
Poverty.
and they hated it. And then right now in our town, a lot of bikes have been handed out to the homeless population. So there are tons of homeless people on bikes. But they don't follow normal rules because they've never been educated on the bike. So you have people, that gives them mobility, which is important, but you have people no helmets riding bikes like crazy. Do you think that we sometimes as mountain bikers are just ultra spoiled brats because we understand the biking side of it, but to some people, this is a hobby for us, But to some people, that is the only mode of transportation they may ever receive.
Nixon.
And crack rock.
Why are you making fun of Nixon?
He by choice. That dude by choice can't drive.
Or doesn't drive.
Doesn't drive. He's waiting to be chauffeured, I think is his whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Nixon Miss Daisy.
So
Nixon Miss Daisy sounds like a weird porno.
I do think, and I think I made the comment today when we got buzzed by an e-bike, those kind of people give cyclists a bad name, and then they lead to the dudes driving the Salt Life trucks with the diesels that are like, I'll run them over if I see them on the road. It's just the trickle-down effect of like dumb meets dumb.
So I guess I'm bringing that up to say, do you think that the LeBron scenario could have an effect where we have lots of more dum-dums on the road?
Well, no, I think it could lead to more education. I mean, I think he gives helmets out with his bikes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe dum-dums, but they're not going to be buying Canyons.
No, it's fair.
Like LeBron is still selling an elite bike.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll see some Huffies get slung back out there.
Maybe.
Some Aaron Schwinns.
I think riding a bike still takes a moderate amount of ambition. And when I saw they were giving all those bikes away to the homeless, I was like, yeah.
But they're using them.
They are using them, but how many?
But think about it.
piled
If you could get to crack rock in one day as opposed to 2 days,
Crack rock.
you would. That's not fair to say. Listen. And you got to burn off the meth somehow.
That's true. You could just get. Oh, dude, we should go
What if
sell
that was the
rollers.
plan?
We should go sell rollers to them, so
Yeah.
they just sit in a spot and they just burn
Ooh.
off the meth.
And then you hook those rollers up to small engines that create, and they could supply energy to the city.
And I put my Strava on there, and I get
And
miles.
straight for Eric Nelson.
Oh yeah, yeah. I rode 1,000 miles this
Yeah,
week.
check it out, Eric Nelson. Anyway, Eric Nelson's a premier rider.
Okay, so I don't know. They could power a country.
How about this tangent? This is a level 5 tangent.
By the way, he's running for president.
Oh, yeah. By the way, just so you guys know, I'm serious. I have a collar. He's the VP. VPs don't wear collars, apparently. And they're weird. That's not a political statement. That's just things that have been said.
It's true.
I mean, the other candidate doesn't have VP at this moment.
It's true.
Yeah. So we are running for president. I think I'd make a pretty good president. I'm pretty smart. I've done some business. I've made some movies. So basically, God bless, I sound like Donald Trump. I've been on TV. I run a business.
We don't talk about him.
Yeah,
We don't talk about
that's true.
Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. We're running for office. I think you should write us in, and here's why. We like bikes. We like beer. We like America. We like people. Most of them. Some of them. A few of them. 5.
If you meet the criteria
That's exactly.
to get over our wall.
We don't have a problem with immigration as long as you're cool,
That's right.
but you have to come ride with us first.
We have Justin.
We have Justin and Kieran.
We just got canceled.
What were we saying earlier? What was the reverse? If it's
Oh yeah,
Hall and Boyd for all kinds of people.
yeah.
Yeah, I won't spin the joke the full way.
Mhm.
So we're gonna run for office. We think you should write us in. And with that, just remember what Dale Boyd says.
Vote for us because you got no other options. I'm sorry for America.
Sorry for America. I'm done.